Branch manager Brad Whitmore doesn't just slide the withdrawal slip back, he flicks it like garbage, the paper hitting Zara Washington's chest before fluttering to the marble floor. His sneer cuts through the pristine Heritage Trust Bank lobby. "Listen, sweetheart," Brad announces, voice dripping with condescension as he leans back in his chair. "Maybe try the pawn shop next door. They're more accommodating to people like you." He makes a show of sanitizing his hands with alcohol gel, each pump deliberate and insulting. The 42-year-old black woman in the immaculate navy suit stands frozen as Brad continues his performance. "Security!" he calls out theatrically. "We might need to escort this lady out if she keeps insisting she belongs here." Gasps echo through the lobby. Phones emerge from pockets. The tellers exchange horrified glances. Zara's grip tightens on her Hermes briefcase, the one bearing a small Platinum Banking Consortium logo that Brad clearly doesn't recognize. Her voice remains steady as glass. "Mr. Whitmore, you're making a mistake. Have you ever been judged by your appearance before anyone knew your story?" The digital clock on Heritage Trust's marble wall reads 2:47 p.m., 13 minutes until Friday closing. 13 minutes for Zara Washington to complete what should have been a simple $50,000 business withdrawal. Brad Whitmore's smugness fills the space between them like toxic air. He drums his manicured fingers on the counter, clearly enjoying his audience. "Ma'am, I'm going to need 3 forms of identification: government-issued photo ID, social security card, and proof of residence dated within 30 days. For a withdrawal from my own business account?" Zara's tone carries the patience of someone who's navigated this terrain before. "Standard protocol for suspicious transactions." Brad's emphasis on suspicious draws knowing nods from 2 elderly white customers behind her. "We have to be careful about money laundering, identity theft. You understand." Zara places her driver's license on the counter. Brad examines it like a detective studying evidence, holding it up to the light, checking the hologram. His performance is deliberate theater. "Louisiana license. How long have you been in town?" The question carries implications that settle uncomfortably in the air. 5 years. I've banked here for 3. Brad types with theatrical reluctance, each keystroke an accusation. The computer's showing some irregularities. Large deposits from multiple sources. How did you obtain these funds exactly? Behind Zara, a young black woman named Destiny starts recording on her phone, whispering to her live stream, "Y'all, this manager is straight up profiling this sister right now. Only 47 people watching, but this is wild." The comments start flowing. "Get his badge number!" "This is 2025, not 1955. "Report this." Keisha Johnson, the lone black teller at Station 2, watches the interaction with growing unease. She's seen Brad's protocols before, reserved exclusively for customers who don't match his comfort zone. Her fingers hover over her computer, wanting to intervene but knowing the cost. She's worked here for 3 years. 3 years of watching this pattern. "I run a private equity firm," Zara explains, her voice still controlled. "These are standard business transfers." Brad leans back, arms crossed. "Private equity? What kind of business exactly?" His skepticism broadcasts across the lobby like a radio signal. "Let me guess. Consulting? Event planning? Hair products?" Each suggestion drips with condescension. The assumption that a black woman couldn't possibly run legitimate high-finance operations hangs unspoken but understood by everyone present. Zara's phone buzzes. The caller ID reads, "Board Secretary, Heritage Trust." She declines the call without explanation. Brad notices the expensive phone, the Platinum case, but dismisses them as fakes. "Look, Mrs. Washington. Mrs. Washington, I'm just following bank policy. We can't have people walking in here claiming to own money they can't account for." His voice drops to a stage whisper that everyone can hear. "You wouldn't believe the stories we get. Last week, someone tried to cash a lottery ticket that was obviously photoshopped." The comparison stings. Around the lobby, customers shift uncomfortably. Some record discreetly. Others pretend not to notice while hanging on every word. The clock ticks to 2:51 p.m. Destiny's live stream climbs to 156 viewers, then 203. Comments flood faster. This is discrimination. Get his name. Sue them. Where is this bank? Officer Martinez, the Latino security guard, approaches reluctantly. His body language screams discomfort, but Brad's gesture had been clear. 20 years in law enforcement taught him to recognize real trouble. And this isn't it. Is there a problem here? No problem, Zara says firmly. Just a misunderstanding about customer service standards. Brad's laugh carries malice. Customer service? Ma'am, our customers don't typically need to be educated about banking procedures. He emphasizes educated like it's a foreign concept. Our clientele understands how legitimate business works. The insult lands like a physical blow. Several customers gasp audibly. Keisha's jaw tightens. Even Officer Martinez winces. Zara opens her briefcase, just wide enough for Brad to glimpse thick legal documents marked Confidential Acquisition. She removes a platinum credit card that makes Brad's eyes narrow. The weight, the color, the unmarked surface. It's not a card he recognizes, but he assumes it's fraudulent. Another prop? Brad smirks. Look, lady, I don't know what kind of game you're running, but this is a respected financial institution. We don't fall for street corner theatrics. The street corner reference draws sharp intakes of breath from witnesses. Destiny's live stream explodes. Did he just... Oh, hell no. Somebody call corporate. Perhaps you'd like to call your supervisor? Zara suggests, her voice steady as mountain stone. I am the supervisor for this branch, and I'm telling you that this transaction raises red flags. $50,000 in cash? From a business account with irregular deposit patterns? With your demographic. We see these scams constantly. The word demographic hangs in the air like a curse. No one misunderstands Brad's meaning. 2:53 p.m. 10 minutes until closing. Zara's expression never changes, but something shifts in her posture. The briefcase clicks shut. Her hand moves to her phone, scrolling past 17 missed calls from numbers Brad would recognize if he looked closely enough. Mr. Whitmore, she says quietly, you're absolutely right about one thing. This transaction is definitely going to be memorable. Assistant Manager Rebecca Carter emerges from the back office, drawn by the commotion. Her polished smile falters as she surveys the scene, phones recording, customers whispering, Brad's theatrical performance reaching its crescendo. Is everything all right here? Rebecca's tone attempts diplomacy, but her body language already sides with Brad. She positions herself slightly behind him, a united front against the problem customer. Just explaining our security protocols to this lady, Brad announces, loud enough for his audience. She's having trouble understanding why we can't hand out $50,000 without proper verification. Rebecca nods sympathetically. Of course. We have to protect our depositors' interests. Her words sound reasonable, but the subtext rings clear to everyone listening. 2:54 p.m. 9 minutes until closing. Destiny's live stream surges past 400 viewers. Her whispered commentary provides real-time reaction. Now there's two of them ganging up on her. This sister is so calm, though, I would have been cussing by now. The comments explode. This is going viral. Screenshot everything. What bank is this? Somebody identify these racists. Get their names. Zara checks her Patek Philippe watch, a gesture that draws Brad's attention to the $80,000 timepiece on her wrist. He assumes it's a knockoff from Canal Street, another prop in what he believes is an elaborate con. Ma'am, Rebecca interjects with practiced condescension, perhaps there's been a miscommunication? Maybe you're thinking of a different bank? Sometimes people get confused about where they've opened accounts. The suggestion that Zara might be too stupid to remember her own bank sends ripples of shock through the witnesses. Officer Martinez shifts weight from foot to foot, clearly wishing he was anywhere else. His radio crackles with routine dispatch calls, a reminder of real emergencies happening elsewhere. Keisha can't stay silent anymore. Excuse me, Mr. Whitmore, but Mrs. Washington has been banking here for 3 years. Her account is in excellent standing. Brad's head snaps toward Keisha like a whip crack. Did I ask for your input, Johnson? Get back to your station and let management handle this. His voice carries the sharp edge of authority being challenged. The public reprimand of the black teller sends a clear message to everyone present about the hierarchy at Heritage Trust. Keisha's face burns with humiliation, but she retreats, powerless. Her hands shake as she returns to her computer terminal. Now, Brad continues, turning back to Zara with renewed authority, I'm going to need you to provide documentation for every deposit made into this account over the past 6 months. Bank statements, receipts, tax returns, proof of income source. For a withdrawal from my own account? Zara's voice maintains its supernatural calm. For a suspicious transaction that could implicate this institution in money laundering charges. Brad's legal terminology sounds impressive to his audience, though his understanding of banking law remains embarrassingly shallow. Rebecca nods sagely. We simply cannot process transactions that might expose Heritage Trust to regulatory scrutiny. I'm sure you understand our position. An elderly white man in a 3-piece suit pipes up from the waiting area. About time someone enforced proper standards around here. His comment draws approving murmurs from several other customers. 2:55 p.m. 8 minutes. Around the lobby, the atmosphere grows thick with tension. Mrs. Henderson, an elderly white woman, clutches her pearls and whispers loudly to her companion, I always said this neighborhood was changing too fast. It used to be such a respectable area. Young Destiny's phone captures every word, her viewer count climbing toward 600. The hashtag #HeritageShame starts trending locally as viewers share the stream across social platforms. Comments flood in faster than she can read them. Zara's phone buzzes again. This time, the caller ID reads, Goldman Sachs, Managing Director. She declines without explanation. Brad sees the screen and scoffs. More fake contacts? Lady, this is embarrassing. Just admit you're in over your head and we can discuss smaller withdrawal amounts. Maybe 500? 1,000? His tone suggests he's being generous. The condescension drips like acid. The suggestion that $50,000 exceeds Zara's financial capacity draws gasps from the crowd. Even some of Brad's supporters begin looking uncomfortable with the spectacle. Mr. Whitmore, Zara says quietly, are you familiar with Federal Banking Regulation 12 CFR 21.21 regarding discriminatory lending practices? The specific legal citation catches Brad off guard. He wasn't expecting sophisticated financial knowledge from someone he'd categorized as a street-level scammer. His confidence wavers momentarily before he recovers. Don't try to intimidate me with fake legal jargon. He recovers quickly. I know you looked that up on Google before coming in here. We get this act all the time. Rebecca steps closer, emboldened by Brad's bravado. Sir, perhaps we should call the police. This seems like an attempted fraud situation. These people often work in groups. The phrase, these people, hangs in the air like a neon sign. Several customers exchange uncomfortable glances. The discrimination has moved beyond subtle into openly hostile territory. The word fraud electrifies the lobby. Customers crane their necks for better views. Destiny's live stream hits 800 viewers as word spreads across social media. She whispers urgently to her phone, Y'all, they just called this woman a fraud. This is insane. Officer Martinez finally speaks up, his voice heavy with reluctance. Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to either complete your business or leave the premises. We're approaching closing time. I'm trying to complete my business, Zara responds evenly. These gentlemen seem to have other ideas about customer service. 2:56 p.m. 7 minutes. Brad stands now using his 6-foot frame to intimidate Zara's more petite stature. Look, whoever you really are, this little show is over. You can either walk out that door with dignity, or we can escort you out. Your choice. The ultimatum sends electricity through the crowd. Phones angle for better shots. Destiny's viewer count approaches 1,000 as people share the stream with friends and family members. Walk out? Zara's eyebrow raises slightly, the first crack in her composed facade. Mr. Whitmore, I haven't finished my business here. Your business is finished. Security, please escort this woman. Wait. Zara's voice cuts through the noise like a blade. Before you make that call, perhaps you'd like to see something that might interest you. She reaches for her briefcase with deliberate slowness. The lobby falls silent, except for the steady tick of the wall clock and the soft whir of security cameras, capturing every moment for posterity. 2:57 p.m. 6 minutes. Brad's confidence wavers as Zara's fingers trace the briefcase's platinum locks. Something in her demeanor has shifted. Not panic or desperation, but a quiet certainty that makes the hair on his arms stand up. What you're about to see, Mr. Whitmore, might change your perspective on customer service and your career. The briefcase clicks open with the sound of destiny arriving ahead of schedule. The briefcase opens like Pandora's box, but instead of releasing chaos, it reveals order, the kind of legal order that builds empires and destroys careers with equal efficiency. Zara removes a thick manila folder bearing the Heritage Trust Bank logo and the words Confidential Board Resolution stamped in red across the cover. The document's weight, the quality of the paper, the official seals, everything screams authenticity. Brad's smirk begins to falter as he reads the letterhead upside down. What is that supposed to be? Board Resolution 2025-047, filed this morning at 9:17 a.m. with the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta. Zara's voice carries the precision of someone reading a death sentence. Approving the acquisition of Heritage Trust Bank by Washington Capital Group. The words hit the lobby like a physical force. Conversations stop mid-sentence. Phones stop recording momentarily before resuming with renewed urgency. Even the ambient noise of the air conditioning seems to pause in reverence to the moment. Rebecca Carter goes pale, her professional composure cracking like old paint. Acquisition? That's impossible. We would have been notified through proper channels. Check your email. Zara's tone remains conversational, almost helpful. Sent at 9:23 a.m. to all senior management and board members. Perhaps it went to your spam folder? Corporate communications sometimes get filtered incorrectly. Brad snatches the document with shaking hands, his earlier confidence evaporating like morning mist. His eyes scan the official seals, the signatures, the Federal Reserve filing numbers. Each detail confirms what his brain refuses to process. The paper quality alone costs more than his weekly salary. 2:58 p.m., 5 minutes until closing. This has to be fake, Brad whispers, but his voice lacks conviction. The document bears the signatures of Heritage Trust's board chairman William Thornton III, Chief Regulatory Officer Sarah Martinez, and Federal Reserve District Director Robert Carter. The kind of signatures that can't be forged without committing federal crimes carrying 20-year prison sentences. Destiny's live stream explodes past 1,200 viewers as the story spreads across social media platforms like wildfire. Her whispered commentary turns breathless. Y'all, I think this woman just said she bought the bank. The manager looks like he's about to have a heart attack. Comments flood the screen faster than humanly readable. Plot twist! She owns the bank? This is better than any Netflix series. Record everything. Someone call the news. Get their names. Around the lobby, customers crane their necks for better views. Mrs. Henderson clutches her companion's arm. The elderly man in the three-piece suit removes his glasses to clean them, as if better vision might change what he's witnessing. Zara pulls out a second document, her business card. Not the flimsy card stock of pretenders, but heavy platinum-embedded stock that costs $50 per card to produce. The weight alone speaks of serious money. Zara Washington, Chief Executive Officer, Washington Capital Group. Perhaps you've heard of us? Rebecca's hands tremble as she Google searches the company name on her phone. The results make her knees buckle. $8.9 billion assets under management. Acquired First National of Georgia last year. The portfolio includes 17 community banks across the Southeast. Founded in 2019 by Zara Washington, former Goldman Sachs managing director. The search results continue scrolling. Forbes 40 under 40. Black Enterprise Entrepreneur of the Year. Harvard Business School Distinguished Alumni Award. Each accolade hammers another nail into Brad's career coffin. Effective Monday morning, Zara continues with surgical precision, Washington Capital Group owns 67.3% of Heritage Trust Bank. The acquisition was finalized at 9 a.m. today, pending regulatory approval, which was granted at 11:47 a.m. by Federal Reserve Chairman Michael Patterson himself. She produces a third document, the Federal Reserve Approval Letter, signed by district officials and bearing official stamps that would require a conspiracy involving dozens of federal employees to fake. The FBI investigates document fraud with the enthusiasm of bloodhounds. Brad's face cycles through emotions like a broken slot machine. Disbelief, recognition, terror, denial, bargaining, and finally, the pale recognition of career suicide. His complexion matches the marble floor. Cold, lifeless, expensive to replace. Mrs. Washington. Officer Martinez speaks for the first time in minutes, his voice barely above a whisper. 20 years of police work taught him to recognize when situations flip from routine to life-changing. I sincerely apologize for any inconvenience. No need to apologize, Officer Martinez. You conducted yourself professionally throughout this interaction. Zara's tone distinguishes between those who showed respect and those who showed contempt. Your behavior today will be noted positively in my report to Chief Rodriguez. The security guard visibly relaxes, recognizing he's escaped a career-ending mistake. Brad visibly doesn't, recognizing he hasn't. 2:59 p.m., 4 minutes until the weekend begins. Keisha abandons all pretense of working at her station. She stares openly now, watching the most powerful woman in the building reclaim her dignity one document at a time. 3 years of witnessing Brad's discriminatory behavior, and justice finally arrived wearing designer heels. "But this is impossible," Rebecca stammers, her voice rising with panic. "We would have had board meetings, transition planning, due diligence procedures, regulatory reviews." We did. 17 board meetings over 6 months. Due diligence completed by Ernst & Young at a cost of $2.3 million. The regulatory approval process began in October. Zara's briefcase produces a fourth document, a timeline thicker than a phone book. Here's the complete implementation schedule. You'll notice your name appears in several sections, Ms. Carter. Rebecca's face goes white as she scans her future. Her position remains secure, but with significant changes to her responsibilities, reporting structure, and performance metrics. The new diversity and inclusion requirements alone will transform her daily routine. Brad finally finds his voice, though it emerges as a croak. "Mrs. Washington, I had absolutely no idea about any of this. This is all a terrible misunderstanding." "Mr. Whitmore." Zara's interruption cuts like a surgical scalpel, precise and devastating. "In the past 13 minutes, you've accused me of fraud, questioned my intelligence, suggested I belong at a pawn shop, compared me to street corner scammers, and attempted to have me arrested for trying to access my own money. Which specific part was the misunderstanding?" The question hangs in the air like an executioner's axe awaiting the final swing. Around the lobby, customers hold their breath. Destiny's viewer count hits 1,500, and climbing as the live stream gets shared across Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram, spreading through social networks like digital wildfire. "I was just following standard security protocol." "Whose protocol exactly?" Zara opens another folder, this one containing printouts of Heritage Trust's official customer service policies, highlighted with precise legal annotations. Section 4.2 of your own customer service manual states that withdrawal requests under $100,000 require only standard identification and account verification. Which part of my Louisiana driver's license was insufficient for your standards? Brad's mouth opens and closes like a fish drowning in air, gasping for excuses that don't exist. Section 7.1 explicitly prohibits discriminatory treatment based on race, ethnicity, gender, or perceived economic status. Section 12.4 requires all managers to treat customers with dignity and respect, regardless of personal assumptions. Zara's voice never rises above conversational volume, but it fills the lobby like rolling thunder. Today you violated company policy 17 times in 13 minutes. I counted each violation with timestamps. She produces a fifth document, a detailed performance review of Heritage Trust's downtown branch, compiled over the past 6 months by McKinsey & Company, a consulting firm Brad has never heard of but Rebecca recognizes with growing dread. Customer satisfaction scores, 34% below system average. Minority customer retention rates, 45% below system average. Complaint resolution efficiency, 67% below system average. Employee satisfaction, 52% below system average. Each statistic lands like a physical blow. Your branch ranks dead last in every single customer service metric we track across our 17-bank portfolio. The numbers hit like artillery shells. Rebecca stares at the McKinsey report with growing horror, recognizing confidential data she thought was locked in corporate vaults. The consulting fees alone cost more than this branch's annual profit. Officer Martinez shifts uncomfortably, realizing he's witnessing not just discrimination, but the complete dismantling of a man's career in real time. The live stream audience grows past 2,000 viewers. Mrs. Washington. Brad's voice cracks like a teenager asking for his first date. I sincerely, deeply apologize. If I had known who you were... If you had known what, Mr. Whitmore? Zara's calm never breaks, but her words carry the accumulated weight of centuries of dignity denied and respect withheld. That I deserved basic human courtesy? That professional treatment shouldn't depend on stock ownership? That black women can run successful businesses without your permission or approval? The lobby falls silent except for the soft buzz of Destiny's live stream and the tick of the wall clock marking time until the weekend that will change everything. The fundamental question isn't whether you knew who I was, Mr. Whitmore. The question is why you thought it was acceptable to treat any human being the way you treated me today, and why Heritage Trust Bank allowed that culture to flourish under your management. 3:00 p.m. The clock strikes closing time with the finality of a judge's gavel. The bank officially closes, but no one moves. The lobby has become a courtroom, and Zara Washington stands as judge, jury, and executioner of Brad Whitmore's career. Mr. Whitmore, let's discuss the financial implications of today's performance. Zara's voice carries the clinical precision of a surgeon preparing for a complex operation. Heritage Trust Bank holds $2.4 billion in total assets. Our quarterly revenue averages $340 million across all branches. She opens yet another folder, this one marked Confidential, Branch Performance Analytics. The McKinsey Consulting Report spans 47 pages of devastating analysis. Your branch manages $127 million in customer deposits. Under your 18-month tenure as manager, this location has hemorrhaged $23.7 million in customer assets, a 18.7% decline. The system average shows 3.2% growth during the same period. Brad's face turns the color of old parchment. Rebecca Carter stares at numbers she's never seen compiled so comprehensively, realizing someone has been watching their performance with microscopic attention. Minority customer retention tells an even more interesting story. Zara's finger traces down columns of data. African American customers down 47%, Hispanic customers down 34%, Asian customers down 29%, yet white customer retention remained steady at 97%. The statistics hang in the air like smoke from a building fire. Destiny's live stream peaks at 2,347 viewers as comments explode. These are real numbers. Sue them all. This is systemic racism with receipts. Mrs. Washington, Rebecca attempts damage control. Those numbers might reflect broader economic trends in the community. Ms. Carter, these are comparative statistics. Other Heritage Trust branches in similar demographic areas showed increases in minority customer engagement. Your branch is the statistical anomaly. Zara turns a page. Would you like to hear the customer complaint data? Rebecca's silence serves as consent. Formal discrimination complaints filed against this branch, 7 in 18 months. System average, 1.2 complaints per branch per year. Informal complaints logged through our customer service system, 43. Exit interview surveys citing disrespectful treatment or felt unwelcome, 67. Each number falls like a hammer blow. Officer Martinez checks his watch, wondering if his shift will ever end. The customers trapped in the lobby listen with the fascination of witnessing a historical moment unfold. The financial cost of Mr. Whitmore's management approach extends beyond lost customers. Zara produces a calculator and begins computing in real time. Average customer lifetime value at Heritage Trust, $34,000. Lost customers due to discriminatory treatment, approximately 340 accounts. Total revenue impact, $11.56 million. Brad's calculator makes different sounds when Zara uses it. The quiet clicks of someone comfortable with large numbers, unlike the hesitant pecking of someone learning basic math. Legal liability represents another expense category. Another folder appears, this one marked Risk Assessment, Litigation Exposure. Average settlement cost for banking discrimination cases in federal court, $150,000 per incident. Outstanding complaints with legal merit, 7 cases. Potential exposure, $1.05 million, plus legal fees averaging $300,000 per case. The mathematics of prejudice paint a devastating picture. Rebecca realizes she's watching the dissection of institutional racism with surgical precision and corporate-grade data analysis. Mr. Whitmore, your performance has cost Heritage Trust approximately $14.2 million in direct losses over 18 months. For context, your annual salary is $67,000. You've lost the bank 212 times your yearly compensation. Brad slumps against the counter like a deflating balloon. The number is so large it transcends personal failure and enters the realm of corporate catastrophe. Now let's discuss regulatory compliance. Zara's briefcase produces documents bearing the letterheads of multiple federal agencies: FDIC, OCC, Federal Reserve, and the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division. The Office of the Comptroller of the Currency has been monitoring Heritage Trust's lending patterns for 14 months under the Community Reinvestment Act. Your branch's loan approval rates show statistically significant disparities based on applicant demographics. She opens the OCC report to a page marked with yellow highlighter. White applicants with credit scores between 650-700, 73% approval rate. Black applicants with identical credit scores, 41% approval rate. Hispanic applicants, 38% approval rate. The numbers hit like physical violence. Even Mrs. Henderson, who'd made the neighborhood change comment earlier, looks uncomfortable with the mathematical proof of discrimination. Federal Banking Regulation 12 CFR 25.12 requires equal treatment regardless of race, ethnicity, or national origin. Today's interaction, now documented on live stream with 2,500 plus viewers, provides additional evidence for the ongoing federal investigation. Destiny whispers urgently into her phone, "Y'all, she's got federal investigations and everything. This man is finished." Mrs. Washington. Brad's voice emerges as barely a whisper. "What can I do to fix this situation?" "Mr. Whitmore, the situation is already fixed. You're fired." The words drop into the lobby silence like stones into still water. No dramatic music, no raised voices, just the quiet finality of consequence meeting action. Effective immediately, with cause, forfeit of severance package, and notation in your permanent employment record of termination due to discriminatory practices in violation of federal banking regulations. Rebecca Carter steps forward, her voice shaking. Mrs. Washington, as assistant manager, I should have intervened earlier. I take full responsibility. Ms. Carter, your performance review begins Monday morning at 8 a.m. Your future with Heritage Trust depends entirely on your ability to learn from today's lesson and implement the cultural changes our new management requires. The distinction between Brad's immediate termination and Rebecca's provisional survival sends clear messages about accountability, redemption, and the difference between active discrimination and passive complicity. Officer Martinez, thank you for your professionalism today. You'll receive a commendation letter for your respectful handling of a difficult situation. The security guard nods gratefully, recognizing his career just dodged a bullet through basic human decency. Ms. Johnson? Zara turns to Keisha, still standing at her teller station in shocked silence. Effective Monday, you're promoted to assistant branch manager, reporting directly to the new manager we'll be appointing. Your salary increases to $75,000 annually, plus performance bonuses tied to customer satisfaction metrics. Keisha's hands fly to her mouth as tears stream down her cheeks. 3 years of watching discrimination and justice arrived with a promotion and a 40% salary increase. Ladies and gentlemen, Zara addresses the lobby full of witnesses. Beginning Monday morning, Heritage Trust Bank will implement comprehensive customer service reforms designed to ensure every person who enters our branches receives the respect and professional treatment they deserve, regardless of their appearance, accent, or assumptions about their financial capacity. The spontaneous applause that erupts feels like a cleansing rain after a long drought. Brad Whitmore, former branch manager, walks toward the exit in stunned silence, his discrimination career ending with the soft click of glass doors closing behind him forever. The following Monday morning, Heritage Trust Bank's downtown branch buzzes with the energy of transformation. Zara Washington arrives at 7:30 a.m., 30 minutes before opening, to personally oversee the implementation of sweeping reforms. Keisha Johnson, now wearing her new assistant manager name tag, greets the first customers with confidence she's never felt before. Her weekend was spent studying customer service protocols, diversity training materials, and leadership development resources that Washington Capital provided within hours of her promotion. Good morning, Mrs. Henderson, Keisha says warmly to the elderly woman who'd made the neighborhood comment. How can we serve you better today? The question isn't accidental. Every Heritage Trust employee now receives training on transforming assumptions into service opportunities, turning prejudice into profit through genuine customer care. Rebecca Carter hangs up from her third consecutive call with corporate headquarters. The new reporting structure requires weekly diversity metrics, customer satisfaction scores, and cultural climate assessments. Her performance evaluation now includes specific goals for inclusive service delivery. Mrs. Washington, Rebecca approaches with nervous energy. The new customer feedback system is installed. Every transaction generates an optional satisfaction survey sent directly to Washington Capital's quality assurance team. Technology represents more than convenience. It creates accountability. Real-time monitoring prevents discriminatory treatment from festering in shadows where corporate oversight can't reach. By 10 a.m., the branch processes more transactions than typical Mondays. Word about Friday's incident spread through social media and local news coverage, drawing curious customers eager to experience the new Heritage Trust. Destiny, the young woman who live-streamed the original confrontation, arrives to open her first business account. Her video generated 47,000 views across platforms, launching her social media consulting business overnight. Ms. Johnson, Assistant Manager Johnson, Destiny grins. I need to deposit my first client payments. This whole experience taught me that documentation and dignity can change everything. The ripple effects extend beyond individual transactions. Heritage Trust's stock price rose 2.3%. Monday morning, as investors responded positively to news of Washington Capital's acquisition and management reforms. 3 other major banks announced similar bias monitoring initiatives within 48 hours, recognizing that viral discrimination incidents represent existential threats to institutional reputations in the social media age. The Federal Reserve's Community Reinvestment Act compliance team schedules monthly audits to ensure sustained improvement in lending practices. The OCC investigation, initially punitive, becomes collaborative as Heritage Trust transforms from regulatory target to reform model. Mrs. Washington, a reporter from the Financial Times calls during lunch, how does this acquisition fit Washington Capital's broader strategy? Banking should serve everyone equally, Zara responds from her temporary office in the branch. When institutions fail communities, capital must intervene to restore equity and trust. This isn't charity, it's smart business. The financial metrics support her philosophy. Within 1 week, the downtown branch's customer inquiries increased 340%. New account applications spiked 67%. Loan applications from minority borrowers double as word spreads about fair treatment protocols. Employee satisfaction surveys, administered anonymously, show dramatic improvement. Staff report feeling proud to work here again and confident in management support for the first time in years. The new manager arrives Wednesday, Maria Santos, a bilingual former Chase executive with 15 years of community banking experience and a master's degree in organizational psychology. Her first priority, implementing Washington Capital's dignity-first customer service model across all touchpoints. Every customer interaction either builds or destroys trust, Maria explains during the all-staff meeting. We're not just processing transactions, we're preserving human dignity while building sustainable profits. The Cultural Accountability Program launches Friday, exactly 1 week after Brad Whitmore's termination. Every employee completes unconscious bias training, customer empathy workshops, and community engagement certification. Anonymous reporting systems allow customers and staff to flag potential discrimination without fear of retaliation. Response protocols ensure complaints receive investigation within 24 hours and resolution within 72 hours. Heritage Trust partners with local minority business organizations to offer specialized small business loans, mentorship programs, and financial literacy workshops. The initiatives generate positive press coverage while creating legitimate business relationships. Change doesn't happen through anger, Zara reflects during a staff meeting. It happens through ownership, accountability, and the systematic replacement of prejudice with profit-driven professionalism. The branch's transformation became a case study examined by Harvard Business School, Stanford Graduate School of Business, and the Federal Reserve's Community Development Financial Institutions Fund. Other Washington Capital portfolio companies implement similar reforms, creating a network of bias-free banking institutions across the Southeast. The competitive advantage proves substantial as conscious consumers choose businesses aligned with their values. Brad Whitmore's termination ripples through the industry as other institutions quietly reassess managers with similar complaint patterns. His LinkedIn profile remains suspiciously empty as discrimination violations make him radioactive to potential employers. By month's end, Heritage Trust's downtown branch ranks in the top 10% of customer satisfaction scores across the entire system. Employee retention reaches 100%. The first time in 5 years, no one quit during their probationary period. The success metrics extend beyond numbers into community impact. Local minority business loans increase 89%. First-time homebuyer approvals for underserved populations rise 156%. Community development investments expand 234%. Excellence isn't complicated, Zara tells a gathering of community leaders. Treat people with respect, provide quality service, and measure results transparently. Discrimination isn't just morally wrong, it's financially stupid. The reforms create a template that Washington Capital replicates across its portfolio, transforming 17 banks and credit unions into models of inclusive excellence. Heritage Trust's quarterly earnings report shows the downtown branch's remarkable turnaround. Customer deposits increased $47 million. Loan originations rose 78%, and customer satisfaction scores jumped from 34th percentile to 94th percentile in 60 days. Wall Street analysts praise the acquisition as both socially responsible and profit-maximizing, proof that doing right and doing well aren't mutually exclusive when leadership commits to systematic change. 6 months later, Zara Washington stands before the National Banking Association's annual conference, delivering the keynote address on transforming discrimination into competitive advantage. The Heritage Trust story has become legend, a real-life story that proves quiet power can reshape entire industries. Change doesn't happen through shouting, she tells the audience of 3,000 banking executives. It happens through ownership, preparation, and the systematic replacement of bias with data-driven excellence. The Heritage Trust downtown branch now processes $340 million in annual transactions, triple its pre-reform volume. Customer satisfaction scores consistently rank in the top 5% nationwide. Employee retention reaches 100% for the first time in the branch's 40-year history. Keisha Johnson completed her MBA through Washington Capital's Employee Development Program, earning her degree while managing the branch's most successful quarter since 2019. Her story inspires dozens of young Black women to pursue careers in financial services. Mrs. Washington didn't just save my job, Keisha reflects during a Black Tales Stories interview. She showed me that dignity isn't negotiable, and excellence is the best revenge. Destiny's live stream career flourishes beyond her wildest expectations. Her original video, now titled "The Day a Black Woman Bought a Bank to Prove a Point," generated 2.3 million views across platforms. Major brands hire her to document authentic social justice moments in corporate America. The ripple effects extend far beyond Heritage Trust. 12 major banks implement bias monitoring technology after watching discrimination incidents go viral repeatedly. The financial cost of prejudice, lost customers, legal settlements, regulatory fines, reputation damage, finally exceeds the comfort cost of maintaining discriminatory cultures. Brad Whitmore's career serves as a cautionary tale circulated through human resources departments nationwide. His discrimination termination appears in employment verification databases, making him effectively unemployable in regulated financial services. The consequences of prejudice extend beyond moral judgment into economic reality. The Federal Reserve cites Heritage Trust as a model for Community Reinvestment Act compliance. Other regulatory agencies study Washington Capital's transformation methods for replication across industries beyond banking. This story matters because it's repeatable, Zara explains to Forbes magazine. When marginalized people gain economic power, systematic change becomes inevitable. Money talks louder than bias. The Washington Capital Group portfolio expands to 23 financial institutions across 8 states, each implementing the Dignity First customer service model. The competitive advantage proves sustainable. Respectful treatment generates customer loyalty that translates into measurable profit growth. Harvard Business School develops a case study titled Washington Capital, Leveraging Acquisition for Social Impact, that becomes required reading in MBA programs focusing on socially responsible investing and stakeholder capitalism. The story inspires documentary filmmakers, podcast hosts, and authors studying the intersection of economic power and civil rights. These touching stories demonstrate how individual acts of dignity can reshape institutional cultures when backed by strategic leverage. 3 years later, Heritage Trust reports record profits while maintaining the highest customer satisfaction scores in its operating region. The downtown branch, once the system's worst performer, consistently ranks as the most profitable location in the state. Maria Santos, the branch manager who replaced Brad Whitmore, opened 2 additional locations in underserved communities. Each new branch implements the bias-free protocols that transformed the original location from liability into asset. The legacy extends beyond financial metrics into cultural transformation. A generation of banking professionals grows up understanding that discrimination isn't just morally wrong. It's economically destructive in an era where viral videos can destroy institutional reputations overnight. Every interaction either builds trust or destroys it, Zara reminds her executive team during quarterly reviews. In the age of smartphones and social media, there's no hiding from the consequences of treating people poorly. The Heritage Trust story joins the canon of Black stories that demonstrate how prepared minds and patient execution can overcome institutional barriers. Like the best life stories, it proves that victory doesn't require violence, just intelligence, resources, and the courage to use both strategically. Washington Capital's success attracts minority investors seeking ethical investment opportunities that generate both social impact and competitive financial returns. The firm manages $24 billion in assets while maintaining its founding commitment to dignity-driven business practices. Young entrepreneurs study Zara's approach, the quiet accumulation of power, thorough preparation, and surgical precision in addressing systemic problems. Her methods inspire a generation of business leaders who understand that lasting change requires ownership, not just activism. Have you witnessed discrimination in your workplace or community? Share your story in the comments below. Every documented incident creates accountability that prevents future Brad Whitmores from abusing their power. Your voice matters. Your story matters. These real-life stories of courage and consequence inspire others to demand dignity in their daily interactions. Subscribe to Black Tales Stories for more inspiring accounts of quiet power overcoming systematic barriers. Hit the share button. Every view creates awareness that builds a more equitable world for everyone. Together, we document injustice and create change, one story at a time.